Alrighty then. Hadn't been a while since I'd done a video, so I thought I'd kind of give an update. I haven't really been able to spend a lot of time on it because of this cerveza sickness, but I was able to complete the repair to the back end, get the ring welded in. I had some issues there after I initially welded it up. Had to cut it out, and even with that 1.5 inch bar, square bar, it's amazing how much you can pull. It'll pull. So I had to do more heavy welding on the bottom as I was doing the top. So move from top to bottom, welding it in, and I was able to get it welded in right, and get this all matched up here, and welded up. Which I'm pretty content with. I kind of revisited the thought of just going in and shortening the exhaust, but at the moment, I did start welding on the hole on the top. Basically got these two seams there done. Just basically have to I got the front center done. Still need to weld up the keel on this side. Had a guy that used to build boats tell me to just cut out with a 1/8 inch blade on like a saw, just cut out this seam, take off these welds, cut out this seam, and then weld in that groove. Still have to do this side. It's pretty much prepped, for welding. But the issue I'm running into now is just simply the springs here. One development that will affect my ability to work on it is I've decided to sell my other property rather than remodeling the mobile home. I have a family member. I own it outright, so I was going to do a monthly payment for so many years. Sell it to a family member, so I still have to maintain the grounds, keep the grass down in the spring and all that. But I'm not remodeling a mobile home. I still like to get this in the water this year, but with everything going on, before all this, in 2015, my wife and I had to full-time take care of my grandmother for 4 years. And at the time that started, we had dairy goats, we raised pigs every year, we raised meat turkeys, and we had 40 plus chickens. We basically had a small homestead. We're growing most of our own food, meat and produce. And so we had to give all that up for 4 years just to take care of my grandmother on her property and keep her home. And now that we're down on that property, we ended up staying because that's just the way circumstances worked. We weren't supposed to, but one of the people that was supposed to live here died. The other person, is coming back to live here. But bottom line is we have to kind of move our homestead, which, when you're talking infrastructure for all those things, we have less ground now. And we have, we've got a plan to make it work. I was going to put a kind of a homesteading video out on how we're going to transform this mostly residential property to a homestead. But, it was the lifestyle we lived before. We thought about really not going back to that full bore. We'll probably never do goats again, just because it's too intensive and you're really dependent on bag feed and trying to figure out animals we can raise, even if feed prices and feed availability go down. Chickens are the obvious, but so anyway, I've been trying to develop a small field, which it's just needs built up and all this stuff. I'll do that video, but I don't know what I'm going to get done this spring. I'd love to be welding on it right now. I'm still working. If I was furloughed, I'd be like full-time on this sucker. Most of the people where I work got furloughed, and we're down to a minimal maintenance crew, and we got a lot of properties that you can't just quit maintaining. So, being a tradesperson, they can basically do everything. I'm just the last one to get furloughed, so I don't think it's going to happen. Even if this goes on months longer. At first I was like, well, man, these people on furlough are making more money than they are going to work. and they don't even have to look for work. And it's like, that sounds good, but you know, a lot of them might not go back to their jobs too. So anyway, so I'm 410, so I'm kind of burnt out by the time my last day, which shortens my evening times to even be able to work on this. You know, when I get home, I just don't have time to get into it and get stuff done. And so I've got those 3 days now off, and I'm trying to figure out how to get enough done to where I'm not having to take up my whole weekend. So I spent 2 days hauling material just to, you know, mulching stuff out to a field, laying out where we're putting the fencing, which we're not going to do till after we seed it in fall. But you know, we're buying the fencing now because we don't know what the market's going to be like in a few months, you know, and I doubt things are going to get cheaper and cheaper. You know, with trade slowed down or halted from China, and you know, I didn't really realize it because hadn't been paying that much attention, but there is a global food crisis that's been brewing for at least a couple of years. I mean, it's been brewing for decades just because of the system, but you know, it's becoming more imminent, and we're possibly looking at some real issues later in the year. So we just kind of wanted to get back closer to food independence, into the lifestyle we used to live. Not fully, but man, I would love to have some recreation this summer. So keep apprised. I'll keep you apprised on, you know, if I get back into it, really start making some progress. I'm hoping maybe the next couple, maybe 2 weeks away, I can get all my mulch hauled, till it in. It's going to sit there all summer, get planted in the spring or in the fall. And then it's just basically mowing and stuff like that. Small gardening stuff, so wife's kind of going to handle a lot of that for me. So yeah, I should get back into it. It's going to be a couple more weeks, you know, and once this hole's welded up, I can get that engine in there, you know, get those motor mounts built. That's, you know, those have to be designed and built and adjusted and all that. Once that motor's in, you know, we're making some real progress. You know, I should be able to start working on the little details. Steering, fuel cells, all that stuff. And hopefully it will go much quicker at that point. You know, the electrical, I still haven't bought the supplies to extend the harnesses. Shouldn't be that big a deal. You know, I do a lot of electrical work. It's not all guesswork or anything. So anyway, hope you guys are doing well. And you might not see a video for a couple weeks, but hopefully I'll be into it. Probably after next weekend, I'll be maybe spending 3 days on it straight. So take her easy, everybody.